Now, the first thing that I'm trying to work on with this is like getting a really good solid introduction down packed.
Okay.
So we'll start with that. Sarah, you're a mother,
I am.
business owner,
I am.
dance mum.
Dance mum.
Ooh, what other things fall under your umbrella?
Scout mum.
A scout mum as well.
Yeah, son does scouts now. She loves.
And a dog mum.
A dog mum.
Basically, you're the mum of the building as well.
Yes. Yeah. Camp mother.
Just the all-round superstar. What did
Agony aunt.
Troy referred to you as like his platoon sergeant?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and if you've been in the army before, you know they're the ones that actually are in charge.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, how good. All right, so today we're going to have a bit of a chat about the Rite Group, where you fit into that, and how that started. We were talking before that you didn't come on board right when WashRite was just Troy.
No.
At what point did you come into the Rite Group?
So I came into the Rite Group January 21 after we had sold our business in Taupo and moved.
What was the business in Taupo?
So Troy and I opened a hair salon in Taupo in 2019, and then soon thereafter found out that we were expecting Isla, and then 2020 was lockdown. So we had that business during that whole process.
What was that like?
It was actually really, in the beginning, quite scary. I remember being really heavily pregnant and the announcement came that everything was getting shut down. And at the time, being 8 months pregnant, hormonal, it was almost, I think, polarised.
Sure.
More than normal. But during that process, we had the opportunity for Troy to be at home for like 4 to 6 weeks while we had a new baby, which we probably wouldn't have been able to experience had COVID not happened. And it also gave us the opportunity to really objectively look at our businesses and how they were running, because I was running such a new business and he had an established business, so they were all both quite different. Yeah.
So you say you had the new business. How new was the salon?
Very new. So we had only been open for not quite a year. When
you and Troy started it together?
Yeah, we started it together, and we had we'd not been a year when COVID hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very early days.
Yeah.
Was that your first business that you'd ever started?
That was my very first business I'd ever owned.
Yeah.
But the beauty of that was that I had like a partner that was experienced, so he could give me some insight into what we were doing. I was also quite risk averse at that time, so it seemed like quite a huge jump to start my own business, whereas he was like, just do it. Like, you've got the ideas, you've got the talent, you've got the personality, you've got the clients, like, why not just do it?
What was that like, having that sort of, I guess you've got the rest of the world in school and experience telling you like, oh, this is too scary, like, you can't do it, and then you've got Troy just like, nah, just do it.
It was great. It was what I needed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really what I needed. The life up until then was always me trying to get to that next stage, but I think what you learn in any of these sort of things is you never do anything by yourself, you know, and unless you've got someone standing next to you that's going to give you that shove, you know, sometimes those things don't happen, so it's really important with the people that you connect yourself with.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think he came into my life at exactly the right time.
Isn't that how it works usually?
Yeah.
Right, when you need that extra push.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so in the hair salon, what was the name of it?
Aura Hair Spa.
Aura Hair Spa. So when you were running that with your partner, did you guys run into some problems? Like, I've heard of a few people that don't do business with friends, don't do business with family, and you're doing it with your best friend, you know, your family member.
Yeah. I don't necessarily think for the salon we ran into problems. Troy was really adamant that he would stay in his lane. He was the guy that would bring in coffees and bring in morning tea and say hello, walk in, you know, say hello to everybody, go out the back, talk to the girls, but ultimately he knew that the salon was my baby, and he was there just to kind of support and nurture and bring morning tea.
Cool.
Yeah.
How many jokes were said around him needing a haircut?
Oh, lots. Every single day, you know, and also him saying that he was now the newest stylist and he would just come in and do a full head of foils and a haircut in half an hour.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah.
All right, and so what, during, I guess, lockdown was when you said you had a chance to sort of look macro, big picture at the businesses. What were you looking at that made you think it was time to move on from Aura?
At that point in time, it wasn't that, during COVID, it wasn't that we decided that we would move on. That was when I was able to look at the business from a real true business ownership point of view. When we started it, it was still very pie in the sky. You know, hairdressing as a whole is a lot about feeling and a lot about, you know, how people perceive things to be, and a lot of fluff, to be honest. And you go in it with these dreams of what you want your salon to be and all of the prettiness, but no real knowledge about business ownership.
Yeah, sure.
And what it really is about reconciling your accounts every day and paying your bills. So what it allowed me to do was say, okay, we had created this incredibly beautiful space, which I loved. And that was nice, but that wasn't going to make us successful in the long run. Looking at the processes and the way that we ran the business and what things cost us and margins and all of the, I guess, the boring stuff that comes along with business ownership is what we were able to sit down and reflect on.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, well, is what we're doing working? And then it was working. Yes, there was some financial stuff that we spoke about at the time, because when we closed the business for COVID, it was like, okay, so what do we owe? You know, what do we owe our companies? What money's in the bank? Paying our team, making sure we've still got cash flow, all of those sorts of things. So we paid off everything, made it nice and clean, so that when we came back to the business, we could start fresh. And that was the best thing that we did at the time.
It was
just a chance to pause, have a look at it, and be like, okay, well, when this whole thing sort of blows over, what do we do when we come back? And I don't think that we anticipated how busy we would be when we got back.
What, you mentioned something earlier. You said the change in mindset when you first started, and then I guess COVID was that chance to sort of update and look at it from an educated standpoint now of someone who's run a business for about a year. What were some of the things that you focused on in the early days that you just look back on now going, that wasn't important?
Oh, like the I can't even remember what we talked about. It was like the feeling. You know, what does the business feel like to a client? What do we want it to look like? You know, all of those sorts of things, which are, yes, important in a small scale. But they're also, they can go like that.
Sure. What would be some of those things, like the way the decor, the painting?
The furniture and the painting and the plants and the flowers and the coffee cups and the what are we serving them for, you know, what sort of tea are we going to serve them? And yes, it buys into the whole experience. But when push comes to shove and you're looking at finances, those are also the things that you need to be careful of when you're spending money on starting a business. You don't necessarily always need to go for the most expensive or the most fancy or the the most pretty or all that sort of stuff. You have to decide what's important to your story, and then where you can look at cost cutting situations.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But the way people feel, is that something you'd still lean into now, like with the Rite Group, knowing what you know now? Business is about relationships.
Yes.
So it is about the way you make people feel. In this business, what are the things that you do or that we do that go towards that jar of how we make our customers feel?
Well, from where I sit too, now that I spend a lot more time in the office with the team, we are the client's first port of call most of the time.
Sure.
So when we're answering the phone, how they are greeted by us is the first experience they may or may not have with our business. So if they're greeted with someone that's friendly, that's knowledgeable, that's willing to listen to what it is that they need and then pass that information on correctly, they feel like they've actually got a business that's got it together and knows what they're doing. Whereas if they're greeted by someone who's hostile or grumpy or doesn't really sound like they care about what the client's calling about, then automatically, even if they do give us their details, automatically they're on edge and they're like, oh, well, what's going to happen when the next person calls me? Are they going to be onto it or not?
Yeah.
So my place at the moment is making sure that our team in the office have got, I guess, the training and the resources that they need to make sure that that presentation to the customer is what we put out in all of our advertising, I guess.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. First impressions last.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. The way we speak to people definitely matters.
Yeah.
So when you joined the Rite Group in 2021, what did a normal day in the life look like then?
So when I came on board, I came into the Rite Group purely to look after the cleaners, the commercial cleaners. That brand had been pretty stagnant for a while. We had a couple of good cleaners, but there wasn't any real growth and there wasn't anyone sort of nurturing that brand. So Troy and I I remember the discussion in the car about, we had at this point sold the salon, we'd moved up to the Waikato, I had spent a little bit of time at home being a mum, and I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to open another salon? And if I don't, then what am I going to do? you know? And Troy just floated the idea. It was really slick. You know, when I look back on it now, I'm just like, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, that loaded, ready to go.
Yeah. He was like, well, what do you think about coming and working and looking after Clean Rite? It was Clean Rite at that point. We've rebranded since then, but come and look after Clean Rite. I was like, oh, what do you want me to do? And he was just like, well, you can do sales. You're already doing that anyway. You're experienced in that. And you've just got to, do that and look after the cleaners. And he said, I'll pretty much just hand it to you and you can figure it out. So we, threw around some ideas in the car, and I was like, yeah, okay, I can do that. So purely came on for that at that point. So I started going out and doing sales, getting cleaning contracts, and effectively just learning how the whole thing ran just by doing it.
Okay, so how did you get sales? You were just
door knocking.
Yeah?
Literally out on the footpaths every day, walking into businesses and introducing myself, introducing our brand, and going through the process of getting them to get us to clean their building.
What did that feel like for you?
It felt in the beginning like I was a bit of a fraud because I didn't really know what I was talking about.
Sure.
But after about a week, I realised this is just relationships. This is just talking to people about what is it that they need. Like any sales approach, it's offering a solution to someone's problem. And that's all I did. I just went in, I got to know people, I was friendly, I was, and I listened to whatever it is that they were having issues with. And most of the time it was like, we've got a cleaner and they either don't show up or they don't do a good job. And we never know whether they're coming or going, or they constantly have a changing cleaning team. So I was like, okay, so these are some of the things that if we want to be growing and doing really well in that sector, these are the areas that we need to focus on. So one team that looks after one building, that knows the business, knows the people within the business, and actually cares about the business that they are cleaning and treating their franchise like their own, which was something that was really missing at that time.
All right, so mate, didn't realise you had the sales experience behind you as well.
I do, yeah.
You're an absolute weapon. I can see why you're the platoon sergeant. Self-employment comes with a lot of long hours.
Yes.
Is this something you knew before coming in?
Yes and no. Both my parents were self-employed at one point in their, or multiple points of their career. So I was a child raised in a family with self-employed parents, and I saw how much time and effort they put in. But as a child, I just kind of went along for the ride, and I didn't have really like a true understanding until you do it yourself.
Sure.
I knew that it was going to be more than being an employee, but I was okay with that. But I didn't really truly understand the amount of time and the amount of, I guess, brain space that it takes until you're fully in it. Yeah.
I've heard a lot of people talk about that. If they knew exactly what it would look like or what it would feel like, they probably never would have started. So it's almost like you do need that ignorance at the start.
Yeah.
Which I can imagine
blissful ignorance.
Yeah, 100%. You're just like, no, it's fine. Yeah, come on in. And then you start and then you realise the more you know, the more you don't know.
Yeah.
And that can be quite a daunting experience because when you're expecting you're going to feel confident, you're like, I actually feel less confident than I did when I started. Even though I know way more than I did back then, how does that work? It's crazy. Having Troy by your side, was that something that sort of helped you get through that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the way that he supported me was in different ways and ways in which I needed was I'm fiercely independent. I like to do things on my own, and I'm quite happy to do that. And what I found was that's okay to a point, but you need to be able to take advice as well. And he was really good at sort of reading like when to interject, when to just let me do it and make the mistake. And because I did make some mistakes, and that's fine. But he kind of weighed up, like, if I let her go for this and she makes the mistake, like, how bad is it going to be?
Sure, yeah.
So, yeah, that was a really good support system there. And then sometimes, I guess, being a woman, I'm a lot more emotional as well. And sometimes it was just more from an emotional perspective, feeling like you'd failed in some point. And I think if you don't have someone there sort of being your cheerleader, you just be like, ugh.
In one emotional
What am I doing?
That's it.
You're like,
shut it all down.
Like, shut it all down. We're not doing this anymore.
I'm moving away. See you later.
Exactly. Yeah.
So good to have the logic to come into effect when the emotions can run high, because that can happen. It's an overwhelming experience. You're working long hours. You probably don't socialise as much as you did before. And also I think there's an element of you don't get along with the same people. Maybe you see the world a little different now. Very
differently, and your world becomes a lot smaller. So, and this is something that I'd spoken about at a networking group as well, is that the life that I was in previously was the life that I enjoyed at that point in my life. You know, I was younger, I liked to go out and socialise, and the hair and beauty industry is very much about socialising and getting out there and, you know, having a great time. And that was great at that point in time in my life, but it's really, really different now. So, yeah, my social circle is a lot smaller, but it's with people that I've like really chosen that I would really, they align with my values, they align with my, you know, circle, and you have much more like genuine friendship with a smaller group of people, rather than lots of acquaintances.
Well, you can reach a deeper level. Like, take this conversation, for example. Because it's just you and me right now, we can cover so much more, or we can dive so much deeper than if we had two other people interrupting us and wanting to also include their stories in it as well.
Oh, yeah, I have it.
Exactly. Like, the depth would only be limited, or because unless we're going to sit here all day and talk, which we're not. So I really get that. And I think there's an element of, like, do you find, like, after running a business, doesn't mean you don't like these other people.
No,
they're
not
still
at
good
all.
people. It's just the conversations that are being had, you're realizing, like, they're talking about celebrities, they're talking about other people's lives, they're voyeuristically engaging of life, whereas now it would seem, correct me if I'm wrong, the types of people you're socializing with now are very much involved in their own business or in their families, and they want to hear about your wins, and they're not afraid to hear you go, we just ticked off this goal, let's go. They're not going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Definitely. And you find that you're generally hanging out with more business owners.
Yeah.
Because they kind of get you or where you're at. Yeah,
and I think we see that across the board. Nurses hang out with nurses, cops hang out with cops, because the lifestyle they live is unique to that environment. And then obviously I think it's good networking. It's good business, because you want to help your friends' businesses, they want to help yours, and as a result, well, that's reciprocal energy, which is relationships. It's all about people.
Yeah.
Would you say you've become a better mother and a better friend as a result of being a business owner?
I think I've become definitely a better friend. More understanding of people's capacity, that it is, if you don't hear from somebody for 3 months, it's got nothing to do with you. That's actually okay. They're not angry with you. They've just got their stuff going on. So, I mean, I've got one particular friend, and her and I just always know where we're at. We're both incredibly busy. She's a mother, I'm a mother, business owners. She's just sold her business. We always talk about catching up for lunch.
Yeah.
Whether we actually catch up for lunch, totally different scenario. And I messaged her the other day, and I was just like, we still haven't done this lunch date yet, but I'm probably still at least 4 weeks away from even having time to even consider looking at my diary. And she was like, oh gosh, tell me about it. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just wait for the Christmas holidays. You know, that was September, and we're waiting for the Christmas holidays. So we know what the rest of our year is going to look like. But it doesn't change the friendship. And we know that if either one of us ever needed a hand, you would just flick him a text message, and, you know.
It's like, when you've got a good foundation of embers on a fire, you only need to log every so often to keep the fire going. And that sounds like what you're describing with this friend. Yeah. You get a lot of that in business, I think. Yeah. I mean, especially if you've been there through some tough times, which in the last 5 years has presented a lot of tough times for a lot of business owners.
People, yeah.
Oh, how good. Has there been anything through your business ventures, notably with the Rite Group, that's just made you go, oh, I don't want to do that?
Yes. There has
Would you like to explain? Can we?
So what I had to learn was that 99% of the franchisees are not going to be my friend. And that my job was to support them as a business owner. And so taking the emotional part of it away. I had to learn how to do that, because I was investing so much of myself into their business that when they weren't giving their 100%, I was like, but I'm giving 100% to your business. Why aren't you doing your part? And it would really weigh on me. And so then there were franchisees who would feel like we weren't doing enough, or we weren't giving enough, or we weren't supportive enough of their journey. And then when their franchise didn't succeed, or they chose to move on from the network, the ownership of that sat really heavily on me, because I was just like, I didn't do enough, or I didn't,
Sure.
to support them in their business. But when I look back on it, I was like, I was given everything, but the equation is only as good as the 2 people or 3 people involved in it. And if one's giving 100 and the other one's giving 20,
it's never going to work out.
It's never going to work out, because you're not going home with them every day. And so I had to learn how to separate the relationship from being like, I am fully invested in their success, but I had to be able to separate and be like, they have to be 100% committed to their success, and we can only give them the tools of what we know works, and it's up to them to action that. And it used to really frustrate me when people wouldn't just do what we know works.
Yeah. Why won't people listen to
Why
me?
won't you just do what we know works?
Life would be easier if everyone just saw it how I see it.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
And so that was something I really had to learn how to do, was separate myself from that and not let it weigh on me so heavily. And then also realise that not everyone is going to be my friend. I can be friendly and I can be accommodating and do all of those sorts of things, but they're not going to be my friend. We're business partners in the end. And that there were going to be some decisions that I had to make as a franchisor that I wouldn't like, but they're just going to be the most important thing for the business at the time. And primarily that had to be my main focus, was what's the best decision for the business in the end.
Yeah, and that would feel pretty like, oh.
Yeah, it felt really icky at times, but then the result of that was a positive outcome for the business. So being able to push that stuff
Very
down.
important.
Yeah.
All right, so franchise owners are not your friends. They're business partners.
Yep.
Now, when looking for a business partner, you obviously don't want to just match with anyone who's got enough money. What are some of the things you're looking for from a business partner?
When I meet with potential franchisees, I'm looking for people who are looking to have something long term. They're not looking for the quick buck. It's one of the big things, that they may not necessarily understand in the beginning, but they're willing to listen and learn about the fact that franchising or owning a franchise is just like owning any business, and that it takes time to build the revenue. And what sort of support system do they have? What's their family makeup like? What are their other commitments outside of their franchise? Most of the time when people are buying a Hallmark Services franchise, they're buying it as a secondary income. They may have a day job and they're going to clean in the evenings and the weekends. So I'm like, okay, well, what are they doing during the day, and how will that affect their availability and time and earning potential? And then, do they have that sort of personality that's quite, easy to communicate with?
Yeah.
That they would also appeal to a business owner, because, like I said before, I like the cleaners to really know who they're cleaning for and to really understand that, who they're cleaning for, and that if they need to communicate with the customer, they can do that quite easily. Most of the time, you're getting people from all walks of life, all nationalities, all levels of experience, and so you don't necessarily have one type of person, but you look for those traits, that they are personable and friendly and hardworking, and open to the process.
When I hear you say that, it sounds like the same process for finding a successful marriage. They need to be prepared for that long term. It's not a quick buck.
It's not a quick.
We're looking for for the long term.
We're going to work together on this.
What's your family like? Because you married the woman, you marry the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess as well, because it's really important, because it's not always going to be, I guess maybe just like marriages, it's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows. There's the honeymoon period, it's going to be exciting, it's going to be the goods. But what have you got that's going to help you get through that real hardship, that real hard time? Are you going to communicate with your business partner about it? Are you going to open up to them and be like, hey, Sarah, I'm struggling with this. Troy talked a little bit about that yesterday, and you just spoke about it. Having those boundaries between friendship, professional life, how do you navigate that when you have a business partner who's coming to you to be like, Sarah, okay, I'm struggling with this aspect? How do you know when you go, hey, that's not something I can help you with, or actually, hey, this is something that's important to me because it affects you, it affects me?
Yeah. That's something I have become much better at.
Cool.
Whereas beforehand, I would have tried everything to try and fix it. I'll fix it for you, don't worry. Whereas now I'm like, okay, so this falls into the realm of something that you would need to work on. And these are the things that I suggest that you do to do that. And then this is the part that I can assist you with. So it's about, I guess, creating really clear procedures on this is you and this is me. And if it's not falling into me, making sure that they have all the knowledge and the resources and the know where to go to get the answers for whatever it is, that's their responsibility. And knowing that I've given that to them, and then the rest is up to them to make sure that they execute what they need to.
All right. So just to clarify, it's not like I can't help you. Boop.
No, not at all.
I don't know the answer to that, but let me recommend X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
Now off you go.
Oh, look, I had a conversation with a franchisee last night. It was exactly that. It was 7 p.m. I was still working for the day, and it was genuinely something that was going to be their responsibility. And I was just polite and said, I really would love to be able to help you with this, but this is going to have to be something that you organise. And so this is what you can do to do that. I recommend that you book in the training. I recommend that you spend a little bit of time working through everything, because we've got lots of other franchisees that are all in the same boat, and they've managed to do it. So
sink or swim.
It's up to you.
That's what you sign up for when you become the business owner, right?
Yeah.
You have to do everything. Well, funny memories. Has there been any standout, like, crack up experiences that, through Wash Rite or the Rite Group?
I think probably the things that I've more so found myself doing that I didn't think that I would ever do in my life. And Troy and I do always laugh a lot of that when we used to help our dads at home doing like work on the cars and things like that, and you'd get yelled at as a kid like, that's not what I needed, and the things that I found myself doing were climbing on top of Wash Rite trucks to help Troy put together a pump or a motor, or bolt it down to the deck. And thinking to myself, what am I doing? I'm putting together a Wash Rite truck. That's cool. And that's where the relationship part comes into it, because how we would communicate with each other in that scenario would maybe not be what you'd want everybody to see. You're just like, I am holding it the right way. So those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But then, I'm just trying to think.
Just the contrast between some of the different hats that you wear through the business and how you speak to each other and how that changes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, if you had to try and describe this in as little words as possible, maybe try pick 3 words.
Okay.
Or a sentence, whatever comes to mind. How has this journey shaped you?
Ooh. I'm a lot more confident. I am definitely more resilient, and I am more direct than I used to be.
Do you think that comes from the hard parts of business?
Yeah.
And if you could take away those hardships, but you'd lose those skill sets, would you?
No.
So,
I wouldn't take away the hardship. I think the hardship is part of the journey. I think it's really important. It's the whole thing about, you know, iron sharpens iron, and you've got to be able to work those edges to get.
Kind of wish it wasn't like that, but at the same time, if everyone could do it, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's also why you socialise with mainly business owners as well, is they've gone through that fire.
Yeah. They understand the good times, and they also understand when it's not good. And they don't hold it against you.
Yeah.
So.
Just seasons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what's a piece of advice you would give someone who's building a business with a partner? I imagine you get a few partners coming through the Hallmark services or in the Rite Group in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's some advice you would give them starting a business together? They're already a couple.
Make sure that you've got really clear outlines on who's responsible for what.
Okay.
And don't try and get in the other person's lane. Partnership is that. They're going to bring different aspects into the partnership, and one person's going to be stronger at one thing than the other, and you've got to be able to let that person do what they know how to do without interjecting and getting involved, even if you don't agree with how they might do things, or you've got to trust that that's their speciality, so they're going to do what's best, and they'll trust you in whatever you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So trust, stay in your lane,
Yeah.
and some more trust.
Trust is a very big thing. Yeah.
What would your advice be to someone who's single,
Yeah.
who's looking for a partner, that also has an interest in business? Start the business first, or find that partner first and start it together?
Oh, well, we've done both.
You have done both. So that's why you're so qualified to answer, Sarah.
I would find the partner first and then do the business.
Why?
Because you've got to know that the person that you're with as a partner is going to be the right one to do the business with. And once you're in business together, relationships are one of those things, like, it seems, I guess, a bit like harsh to say, but if you're in a relationship and it's not going to work out, then you can just be like, hey, you know, it's not working out. If you own a house together, you sell it and you move on, you know. But if you own a business together, there's so much stuff sort of intertwined in that, and it's a much more challenging partnership to split than the other things. And there's often a lot of other people involved. Like, yes, if you're in a relationship where there's children involved, they are involved in that sort of stuff. But when you own a business, have you got employees? Have you got building leases? Have you got other people involved? Like, we've got hundreds of people involved in our business, which is primarily, in the end, all of our responsibility. So if you're not doing it with the right person, then it's a big spider's web to try and get out of, or, you know. So you've got to make sure you're doing it with the right people. So yeah, I would find the partner first.
Okay. Vet them and go through that process before starting the business.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want to separate when you've got a couple hundred people.
Exactly. You're just like, who's gonna take it?
That's
you know?
Or you just go, you know what? Well, it means we're stuck. It's
You're
the
like,
glue.
hey, it's yours now. I'm out of here.
how did it feel to see other people representing a brand that you and Troy have, maybe not from the get-go started, but you guys have been together for a significant amount of time, building this brand and making it what it is today. When you see people representing that brand in a good way, how does it feel for you?
Oh, so proud. Yeah, there's a huge amount of pride involved in the brands that we have. And I just love to see people out there like winning. I'll use Tim Bailey from Wairarapa as an example.
These franchise owners.
They Washrite Wairarapa.
Yeah.
Been the longest. They are the longest standing franchise in the group. First off the rank.
Number one, eh?
Number one off the rank. And they have built an incredible business in the Wairarapa. So much so that when people recommend a house washing business in that area and you get the Facebook, it's always Washrite Wairarapa, Tim and Bailey, Tim and Bailey, Tim and Bailey, Tim and Bailey. And whilst they've had their fair share of struggles as well, their business is just like going gangbusters, and they've been able to get the boat and get the house and do this, get the digger if you wanted to buy a digger,
Does Tim have a digger?
Yeah, he did have a digger. Yes, he bought a digger. Hey, look, they were on a farm. That's cool. They got to have the lifestyle, and all of that was through having their Washrite business and doing it well, and being able to see people succeed because of something that Troy started. And I think the pride comes from that's something that he started. Yes, I kind of jumped on the bandwagon late in the game, but I see what people are creating, and that we have a part to play in that. Is really cool.
So they say humans need a purpose. I guess as well, when you're looking at examples like Tim and Bailey, you feel that purpose as to why you're taking up those phone calls or why you're replying to those emails and why you're doing all this work, because you're taking your average Kiwi who drive a crappy car, live in a crappy rental, who want more out of life just like you, and they do it with that support, with that community coming together. And it's something I felt coming back into the Rite Group. It's just like, you can tell it's a family-owned run business because of the conversations that are being had. It actually fills people's cups to see people win, see people succeed, or engage in that freedom that is how it should always be.
Yeah.
And actually be able to be like, I want to go do this because I can control my time and I'm going to be there for my kids, rather than having to be like, hey, can I maybe have a day off to go to the thing? 100%. I think for me, that was the first thing that went out the window once I started a business, or even just working very directly, closely with the business owner. Working with Rupert Bain from Rite Real Estate. It was the first time I didn't really need to explain or ask. He just knew, hey, I got kids. You're a father. That's important. You have to be there, Tim. That once you go back to a traditional employment, that you can't do that. You literally have signed over hours of your life to this person who now controls it. And if you don't, there's legal action. Yeah. And it's so we just do it out of school. And then when you start a business and you start talking to these people and you experience that freedom, it's like waking up. Yeah. And I want everyone, even if you go back to employment, at least experience it. And then now I don't know.
I'm ruined for employment now. There's no way.
Couldn't do it.
There's no way that anyone would employ me now.
No. And I think too as well, after surviving recessions or hard months, and you sort of now can't really be held hostage too. And what I mean by that is a lot of people get stuck. Previous jobs I've had, and you're like, oh, I don't like my job. Why don't you leave? And I don't know what I would do. I need to figure it out. And you realize you probably just would figure it out. You don't have to stay, but I've got to pay for this. I get that. But I think after spending a couple of months and you're like, I can really just, get by the skin of your teeth. It doesn't feel good, but you can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have, as business owners, it's not always you're not always flush either. There's weeks and weeks of eating toast and just making do, because everything that you've got pours back into what you're building. And for a long period of time, I think that Troy and I we pour everything back into the business, emotionally, physically, and financially. Everything gets poured back in. We pay for what we need to pay for in our personal life, but everything else goes straight back into the business.
Back into scaling it, huh?
Yeah.
So you take care of all the brands or just Hallmark?
Now I look after all of them.
Okay, so we've scaled a bit, moved up. What do you see? Well, I was going to ask about Hallmark Services, but I didn't realise. So you cover all of the brands.
All of them now.
All right.
Yeah.
Where do you think you want all of these brands to be in the next 5 years? Is it acquiring more brands or just focusing on the ones that you've got responsible for?
So if you ask me, I would really like to see more of the brands that we have.
Okay.
And I would also really like to see so we have the four brands under the Rite Group that Troy and I have, and then we also have 2 other businesses that we're involved in which are not under the Rite Group brand, but they are looking at franchising their businesses. And then we also have our Australian leg. So I would like to see more of the brands that we have in New Zealand under the Rite Group. I'd like to see the other 2 businesses that we're involved in start franchising to grow their businesses. And I want to see Australia going hard.
Yeah.
Gangbusters. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I think
5 years those are the things that I would like to see. If we go into 10 years, if we're going to go further on, then we'll have more brands.
10 years. I heard a rumour that 9 years is a pretty big number.
From now,
Yeah.
it's 8 years for me.
Oh, okay. Even less
It's
time.
9 years is 9 years is the goal.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, definitely. But the goal always changes as well. I think that,
The internet doesn't forget, but let's leave room.
The internet doesn't forget. So our goal has always been, or has been in the last couple of years, to retire at 50. To have a business at a point where we can step away and retire and have a nice little nest egg for our children to do whatever they want to do with their lives, and then go on and live the rest of our lives doing whatever it is that we want to do.
That'll be exciting. When you say have the business in a position, is that an exit or the sale, or is it structured in a way that you can step back?
Well, we've talked about both, and I think that's really going to be decided at closer to the time, based on what our children want to do. The beauty of being able to offer I don't know what they call it, a succession plan. Whether one of our kids wants to come into the business and start learning the ropes, and then it becomes something that they grow and nurture in a way that they want to. We don't know what they want to do.
Sure.
They're still only young. They're still primary school age. They might want to go off and do something else. I think my son's probably going to be very artistic and want to do something down that line. Our daughter, very much cut from both pieces of cloth.
Yeah, I see that.
So she can, she has that real spitfire part of her, but she's also very empathetic and, has that feminine side of her as well. So I think we'll wait and see what they want to do as they grow up. A lot can happen in lots of years.
Well, it's an option that you get as a business owner. To bring this back to the franchise owners who might be watching this, is it true or false that they can scale a franchise and then they can sell it for a significant amount of money?
True.
That's true.
Very true.
Obviously, we can't talk exact figures, though I think it would be awesome. how do I ask this question to give the most information without asking for an exact figure? Basically, I wanted to know, like, how much money could someone make? They buy into a business, they scale it, say over the next, 5 years or so. Then they want to sell. Yeah, have we seen people make more than 6 figures selling a business?
Yes.
Have we seen anyone make more than 7 figures?
Not in our network.
Close to it? Can't say.
Can't say.
I obviously know the figures in my mind, but yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're not sure, if you're working for somebody else, you definitely just have to leave.
Yeah.
You don't get to take any of that business with you, but if you have a business, you have the option to leave if you want, but probably sell it.
Yeah, I think that if you look at investment versus what you can sell for, not looking at figures, because all of our networks sell at different rates. You look at, for a business that is working successfully, profitable, and following all the systems, you can look at anything sort of like 3 to 6 times what you purchased it for. If you look at it from that way.
Okay. Most people will be able now, they're going to be on trade, be looking at like, how much does it cost to buy into it?
Yeah, let's do the math.
Yeah, that's the exciting part though, especially in the early days, sitting down, running numbers.
Yeah.
Maybe not so exciting for me, but how are you with spreadsheets?
I love a good spreadsheet.
Oh, God. Great to have you as a part
Very
of the business.
organised.
I'm so glad that you love doing that, and I love doing this.
Yeah. Especially if it's colour-coded.
Oh.
That's where we're talking.
Oh, God. Well, I guess if Troy ever comes to me and goes, what should I get Sarah for Valentine's Day? I'm just like, give her a really nice spreadsheet.
No. Flowers and jewellery.
Shit, flowers and jewellery.
Well, yeah, I can split the years.
Yeah, fair enough. That makes sense. One word to describe Troy in the early days, and one word to describe him now.
So one word to describe him in the early days would have been relentless.
I see that.
Yeah. One word to describe him now, determined.
Okay. I feel like I really want to dive into the questions as to what's the difference, but we will leave it at that. Relentless and determined. One word to describe you in the early days.
Naive.
Okay. And now?
Strong. No, I don't think strong is the right word.
Oh, you're being your harshest critic right now, aren't you?
Probably like naive in the beginning and a lot more aware now.
So relentless and naive turned aware and determined.
Yeah.
The Rite Group, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.